how did it feel to cross that finish line after 108 hours on your feet?
Yeah, it was a hard race, that one. It took everything to get to that finish line in Kirkgate home. But you are greeted by your spine family and a nice warm bed and lots of food. So it feels really good to finish that race.
Awesome. And we were talking just before, you had a few low points during the race. You fell over on your knees early on, and then there was some really, really, really difficult sections with the weather. Can you just give us a little recap of those, couple?
Yeah, so I was sort of saying, as I headed off out of pause, that checkpoint, so it's the second checkpoint, I'd had some pain in my ankle, and I didn't realise till I left the checkpoint, otherwise I probably would have dealt with it in the checkpoint. And then, as you mentioned, Storm Brendan was brewing, so it wasn't really ideal to kind of stop and faff about looking at my ankle. But I spent a few minutes just trying to sort the shoe out so the pressure wasn't on the swelling. It didn't really work, and I sort of started going up Schonefeld, wondering whether I really should just turn around and go back to that checkpoint, but felt bullish and just carried on. The wind was behind me, so it was actually pushing me up the hill, which was quite good. And as I was being so slow, I think Simon joined me not far before the top, and then it was really, really blowing a hoonie up there. And then we got the rain as well, so it was absolutely belting it down with rain, blowing a gale, quite incredible weather. Luckily, I was dressed for it. And it hadn't felt too bad doing the final ascent, but then the descent into Thwaite was incredibly painful. At that point, I really was in a lot of pain, and I had to just hobble down. And I was very grateful for being with Simon. I did tell him to go ahead, but he's too much of a gentleman for that. He stayed with me. He lent me his poles, and I managed to hobble down into Thwaite. Unfortunately, there was nothing there to shelter in, so we had to head on to Keld Reading Room, which is a little detour off the track, but it's nice in there. There's a fire going, there was hot drinks, a toilet, cake, so we filled our boots and managed to ice my ankle there. And get swelling down and sort the shoe out so I could tie the tongue away from the swelling so it didn't keep pressing it every time, which is what was causing me pain. And that was quite good. Left there feeling a bit better. And it stayed away until the descent off Crossfell. Gone up Crossfell, it was very snowy, and that was the coldest point of the race, and I did get quite cold there. But luckily you descend to Greg's hut, where you've got noodles, and then John Bamber's there, and there's a fire again. You can get a bit comfortable there. We were there for about an hour just warming up, and unfortunately during that time the ankle swelled again, so again I had problems descending into Garrigill. I told Simon to go on this time because I really was slow and he was going to get cold. So it was a bit miserable hobbling down to Garrigill, but I was very lucky. As I was approaching the village, I saw some lights coming towards me, and I was met by Steph Dwyer, Mark Clarkson and Colin Green, and they were elated to tell me that there was this lady, Annie, who was absolutely desperate to have a spine person visit her house, and that's just what I needed. So I made her day, she made my day, she kept me in the race. I managed to ice my ankle there again, so maybe a cheese and ham toasty, got some more drugs into me, and managed to make me new. So that was amazing, because going from a low point where I wasn't sure I could continue to getting fixed like that, I made my mind up at that point that whatever happened with this ankle I was gonna cross that finish line, and I managed to get running again after that. So it felt pretty good after that, and got into Alston.
Awesome. Yeah, well, that sounds really difficult. But you said that there were some really good parts as well, because you've done it in the summer, but actually there were some points where the winter race was even better.
Yeah, so when I was climbing out of Dufton, actually, it's called Green Head, I think it's called. You go up this first descent, and it was really beautiful. It was that afternoon, so a few hours hiking up and along the ridge. There's a little bit of snow everywhere. It really was stunning. And we were also lucky to have some clear nights. The full moon was just turning, so we had a very nice moonlight for a couple of nights as well, and some stars, and it really was pretty. So I had originally thought, we wouldn't get anything good in the winter, but actually we had some marvellous weather at points and some beautiful views, so it really was good.
Cool. It sounds beautiful. And you have done a lot of races in your time. You've done a lot of adventure races. You've done the Dragon's Back. You were fifth lady and then second lady over the last two Dragon's Backs. You've won the elite course with Tom Gibbs at Dark Mountains, which is a notoriously tough winter orienteering race. Was this the toughest race you've ever done?
I think on reflection, this is certainly the one I've been in the most pain in because of these ankles. It's a very tough race. It's long. The ground conditions were very challenging with mud and bog and things pulling your legs from one way to the other. And then obviously you've got a lot of darkness. It was very windy. It was wet. There was snow. There were a lot of challenging things. It was very enjoyable, but it was also tough, I would say. I don't think I've put myself through quite that much pain before. It's long and it's persevering, I think is the word.
And how did you push through that pain?
Well, at times I had to stop and actually deal with it, painkillers and icing.
Yeah.
And then I would say that I sort of gave up even bothering with that after Burness, and just turn this thing off in your head that just sort of a pain alert, just switch that off, knowing that it's not going to be too far to the end, and you just grunt on through it.
I like it. Grunt on through it. So that sounds like good advice. Do you have any more advice for somebody watching this thinking, wow, okay, this sounds amazing, I'm going to tackle the spine race next year?
Yeah, so I would say these spine races are really special experience, and what makes it what it is the people that support you through those checkpoints, those marshals that greet you there, and the fellow racers you get to race with. You will, maybe if you're into ultras, you will meet people you've met on races before, or you meet new people, and these things are what I do it for. In terms of preparing oneself for such a race, it's important to be used to having time on your feet. It's not about how fast you can go. You only need to do 3-4 kilometers per hour to do the race, or even less if you're just trying to make cut off. So it's walking really. So what you want to do is spend maybe 10 hours a day for 5 days hiking with a pack, and if you can manage that, I'm sure you can manage a spine. But you do need to learn a level of independence, being able to navigate yourself in the dark, in the cold, and the wet. You need to have a really good understanding of how your kit works. Be able to change a head torch in the dark when it's blowing, and take gloves off and so on. You need to be able to change that battery quickly and without any light. Things like that. You need to know where your kit is in your bag. You need to be very disciplined so that you can find things very quickly. You might need an extra pair of gloves quickly so your hands don't get cold. So knowing where everything is in your bag, and generally having experience of the terrain and the weather and your kit and how you're going to deal with that. Those are the things you need. The sleep deprivation comes with a bit of training as well, but you don't have to. I mean, you can have a good 2-3 hours every night, still make cut-offs, as long as you are quick with your other admin, so you don't spend another 2 hours packing your bag in the checkpoint, if you're in and out for that bit. But you can also learn to deal with less sleep as well, and that will save you time in the race. But you need to be careful not to make mistakes when you're sleep deprived, because your brain is not functioning optimally. So maybe your first race, you don't want to do that because you will make more mistakes than you need to, and that will cost you time. So
yeah, well, that's all really good advice. And I know you're still sort of hobbling around a bit, and there's scabs on your knees and your ankles are still hurting a bit, but have you got any thoughts about the future? What does 2020 hold for you?
So I'm hoping that these tendons will settle down. It's only a week post race, so hopefully I'll get running in a week or two. But the big plan, there's the Cape Wrath in May. Give myself 3 weeks rest after that, and then the big plan is the Wainwright's Challenge on 19th of June. So aiming to set a female time there. See how we go.
That sounds fantastic. Have you done many of the Wainwrights already?
So I've been recceing since June, doing bits and bobs, and I'll continue to do that as soon as I can run again. I'll be doing those loops and checking my route, because I'm going to change the route that Stevie B set. I'd like to just do it slightly differently, so that's keep me amused for a bit.
Awesome. Oh, that's fantastic. Well, thank you so much. It's been really great to hear about your experiences on the spine race, and wishing you best of luck on the Wainwright's Challenge.
Well, thanks, Claire.